So, volume of a rectangular prism. Alright, so if I want to find the volume of a rectangular prism, first off, what does volume even mean? What is volume calculating? Okay, but what is volume? Like, what is it telling me? Like, if I find out that the volume is 5, what is that telling me, Roman?
That's the measure space.
What?
Measure space itself.
Like inside of that figure, right? So if I have this 3D pyramid, if I found the volume of this, I'll see it up here. If I found the volume of this pyramid, that means that I'm finding how much space is inside of this pyramid. Like how much sand I could fit inside of this pyramid. Does that make sense? So the volume is the amount of space inside of the 3D figure. So is that kind of similar to area?
Yes,
But just in the inside, kind of, right? Okay, so area, I'm finding area of what type of objects? Like triangles or squares or rectangles, right? But what type? Is it 2D or is it 3D or 2D, right? If I'm finding the area of a square, then I'm just finding like the length times width of this square. Like how much of this area is green, right? But volume is of a 3D object. So volume is telling me the space inside of this whole entire object. So they're kind of similar, except area is on a 2D figure, but volume is on a 3D figure. Okay? So if I need to find the volume of a 3D figure and say that it's a rectangular prism, I have two different formulas I can use. I can either use length times width times height, or I can use capital B times H. Okay. That capital B, what do you think it stands for?
Base.
Not base. It stands for the area of the base. Okay. So anytime that you see that capital B, that means it's the area of that base. So in this figure, this rectangular prism, what is my base? What shape is the base?
A rectangle.
A rectangle, right? And how do I find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So my capital B is equal to length times width because that's the area of the base. So that's why I can also use this same formula right here as length times width times height. Because capital B times height is the same thing as length times width times height. Does that make sense? So we need to know that that capital B is standing for the area of a base. So no matter what figure we're trying to find the volume of, I can still use the volume equals capital B times H. Just know that that B is the area of that base, whatever shape that base is. Okay. So for right now, we're going to just be focusing on rectangular pyramids, so you can use either of the two formulas. But does anybody remember how I measure area? Like last couple of weeks, how did I put area? If I measured that my area was 5, what was it? 5 what? Square inches or square units, right? So volume is a little bit different. Volume is measured in cubic units. So it will be raised to the third exponent. So this would be centimeters cubed or cubic inches, cubic centimeters. Okay, so volume will be raised to the third power. Okay. All right, so example 1. Find the volume of the rectangular prism. So they are using the formula length times width times height. The length of that prism is 5. My width is 4, and then my height is 3. So I'm just multiplying all three of those numbers together, and I get 60. So the volume is 60 cubed centimeters. Okay. So what about A? I want to find the volume, so that means I'm finding length times width times height. So what is my length?
9.5.
What is my width? 5. And what is my height?
3.
So now multiply all three of those numbers together.
142.5.
142.5 what?
Meters. Squared.
Meters to the third, so meters cubed. Okay. Tyler. No. As long I write it like that because it doesn't look like a 1. I know that it's actually an L and not a 1. Yeah. Over there. Alright, questions on that? Okay, the next page is our notes for tomorrow. So skip a page and go on over to the guided practice. And we're going to do number 1 on the guided practice. So I'm finding the volume of the prism and I'm rounding to the nearest tenth. So I know that my formula is length times width times height. So what is my length? 11. What is my width?
5.
Uh-oh. What happened? What is my width?
5.
5. And my height?
4.
So when I multiply all those together, what do you get?
220.
220 what? Nothing.
Oh. Inches cubed.
Inches cubed. So the volume of that prism, that rectangular prism, is 220 cubed inches. Okay. On your homework, you don't necessarily have to write V equals LWH, but I at least need to see this. V equals your 3 numbers and then your final answer in order to get full credit. So everybody look up here at the screen right now. Pencils down, look up here. You must show at least this amount of work to get full credit. Are we clear on that?
Yeah.
Do not just give me 220 cubed inches. You have to at least tell me this. Okay. You are working on the rest of the packet that has a T next to it. So on number 1, page 644, number 1 has a T next to it. Today is Tuesday, so you are doing number 1. But you are not doing number 2 because it has a W. Are you going to do number 3? No. Are you going to do number 6?
Yes.
Yes. So you are doing all the problems that have a T next to them. And go. Tyler Johnson. It's a 2-day packet.